I'm a bad motherfucker.
I got to get dipped in the water and then my sins are forgiven. Sorry, I don't know. I don't think I buy that. But sadly, a lot of people do. And what has it led the Christians to doing? To become the woke movement of Rome and the Antifa of Rome, self-hating, self-destroying our ancestors and our statues and our culture and demonizing it in the name of Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh, the God of Israel, the Christians, by the sword, leveled temples, burned books, burned blasphemers, declared war on pagans in the north, in the Northern Crusades. This image goes hard, right? There's your church father tearing down all the statues and the histories of the ancestors of Europe. In the name of Yahweh, the jealous God of Israel, who wants to destroy all the other competition and all the other religions and have everybody worship him. That was the whole goal of Judaism and the Torah. And the Christianity were the conquering arm of that. Look at this guy with his based hammer here, taking out the statue. Look at this hunchback decapitating it. Just like Antifa today, destroying all of blotting out the memory of Amalek. The statues in America and Europe. Just like the Christians. They destroyed temples. They burned the books. They cut off the noses of the statues, according to the Jewish tractate, how to properly mistreat a statue. One can desecrate a statue by cutting off the tip of its ear or nose or finger. It's desecrated. And the Christians followed this humiliation ritual, carving crosses in it too as well. Christianity is Talmudic, following the Talmudic instructions for the desecration of Europe's history. That's what went down. The Darkening Age, really good book exposing all of this. So disgusting what they did. So atrocious. Doing the work that the chosen people could never do on their own. Esau living by the sword and serving his brother. It's a catastrophe. What happened? Philosophy Cat retweeted it and did a whole thread on this in the Darkening Age. The truth is, early Christians behaved very much like a woke mob of Islamic extremists. They demolished, vandalized, or melted down a staggering amount of art. Statues were routinely knocked down, defaced, and defiled, torn limb from limb by frenzied fanatics. Which is the one that I had. Okay. And then she writes, this is so deep. And a lot of people are getting this. A lot of people are sick with these Christians, these anti-white Christians. Christ is King is not anti-Semitic. It's anti-Goyim. It's pro-Jewish, because you're talking about the Davidic king. You're talking about Christ as the Moshiach, the nation of priests prophesied Moshiach. So many Christians in her mentions are eager to prove that they are exactly the kind of people who revel in destruction and if given a chance, would be happy to take from others the right to follow their own conscience. Northern Crusade, somebody shared this on the thing too, talking about, look at this graph. All of the Christian attacks on Northern Europe and the Scandinavian countries to go impose Christianity there. 1,000 years ago, 12th century, 13th, 14th century. They were still doing it. Just 1,000 years. Just 1,000 years ago, this was going on. Here's Paula Fredrickson, a top biblical scholar, in her book, Paul, the Pagan's Apostle. Conquering, vilifying, demonizing, and conquering and replacing our own culture and ancestor and gods and traditions in the name of the God of Israel. That's what Christianity did.
God of Israel. It was through the Septuagint that the God of Israel would conquer the West. It was through the Septuagint that the God of Israel would conquer the West. It was through the Septuagint that the God of Israel would conquer the West.
Septuagint and the New Testament. David Limbaugh, Rush Limbaugh's brother's book,
Messiah.
Finding Jesus in the Old Testament. Listen to this one.
Glory of Israel is not her physical temple, but the spiritual temple, and ultimately her Messiah. All those who oppose her will be crushed. All those who trust will be rescued.
All those who oppose the Messiah, the King of the Jews, will be crushed.
Ultimately, the nations will be subjugated and come to serve and worship the Lord at Zion.
This is what the Christians want. This is what the rabbis want. All of the nations, all of the going, being subjugated and worshiping the Lord of Zion.
The nations will be subjugated and come to serve and worship the Lord at Zion. The messages of Haggai and Zechariah are, glory of Israel is not her physical temple, but the spiritual temple, and ultimately her Messiah.
Richard Carriers.
God had promised. In fact, God had promised that the Jews would not only rule their own land, city, and temple, but subjugate all peoples and rule the whole world as the chosen people of God, as we see in Zechariah 14 or Psalm 2.
There's the plan. Soylent Goy says so many Christians think it was some peaceful conversion throughout Europe. Ignorant fucks. They're willfully ignorant, and it's been a massive cover-up and a lie. The histories that we have all come from the Christians who were controlling all of the text and documents for 1,000 years. They covered up what they actually did and portrayed themselves as the heroes doing the moral thing and saving everybody from damnation. The perfect golems the Christians became, conquering the pagan world. From E. Michael Jones's book, Greats, a top Jewish, what would you call him, philosopher, scholar, says a new kind of warfare against long-established Roman institutions, which would ultimately modify or partly destroy them. Greats is referring to Christianity, the most successful Jewish sect. In his view, to conquer Rome from within, Judaism had to be modified. However, it became estranged from and placed itself in harsh antagonism to the parent source. That antagonism was there from the earliest stages. Not from the very, very beginning, but definitely very early on. It's not like they just completely twisted it from nowhere. That was what the Gospels had it. Paul's letters had some of it. Not so much in Paul's letters. The Gospels had it, and that's what targeted the Gentiles with the Gospels. E. Michael Jones also writes, Christians must believe that there is a definite Jewish people who will perdure till the end of time. That means live out. That means survive till the end of time. The Christians then hold that the Jewish have a perduring role and are at least in part defined by their refusal of the new covenant. So Christians need the Jews to their story. They're central to their story and have to survive till the end times, which ensured their survival during the exile. Orthodox rabbis actually love Christianity. It's a love-hate relationship. Jesus is their secret hidden Messiah, essentially. He is their antichrist, anti-Messiah. And Christianity is God's plan, God's divine plan to Zionize, Judaize the nations. and stamp
Building
out
on
the
Rabbi
idol
Irving-
worship. This is from Judaizing Jesus, the radical Jewish approaches to Christianity by a top rabbi scholar. Listen to this.
Building on Rabbi Irving Greenberg's proposition, Rabbi Sherwin posited the radical view that while Jesus may have been a failed Messiah, at least in light of classical Jewish expectations, this did not mean that he was a false one. Rabbi Sherwin recognized, I believe, the great conundrum of Christianity. On the one hand, the gospel had brought about the knowledge of the God of Israel to millions of Christians throughout history.
See, it's a conundrum for them. It's nuance. The Christians that want to run around and go, there's nothing they hate more than Jesus. They fear the name of Jesus. No, that's not the full picture. It's a conundrum. It's a love-hate. And you're missing the big picture.
Many of them had sincerely abandoned paganism and adopted a religious tradition that provided a moral framework.
Oh, they became almost perfect Noahides and monotheists, worshiping the God of Israel and accomplishing what the objectives always were of Judaism, to make the nations submit to the Messiah and believe in the God of Israel and abandon their idol worship, all according to plan. And the rabbis all confirm it.
At the same time, many Christians, and indeed most historically, had adopted a supersessionist view of faith that not only dislodged Jews as part of an ongoing covenant with God, but had adopted views of Jews which formed the foundation of anti-Semitism. The challenge of this was severe. But Rabbi Sherwin proposed a reconsideration of the attitudes towards Christianity which had been adopted by Jews for most of history, in part because of changes undertaken by the Vatican. Another rabbi and professor at Spertus Institute, who was committed to interfaith.
This is the best part now. He talks about how the official Orthodox Jewish group, their official signed statement on Christianity.
This dialogue was Rabbi Asher Lopatin. Rabbi Lopatin signed the groundbreaking Orthodox rabbinic statement on Christianity, which stated, among other things, that, as did Maimonides and Yehuda Halevi, we acknowledge that the emergence of Christianity in human history is neither an accident nor an error, but the will divine outcome and gift to nations. In separating Judaism and Christianity, God willed a separation between partners with significant nor an error. That the emergence of Christianity. Asher Lopatin, professor at Spertus Institute,
Okay, here it is.
who was committed to interfaith dialogue, was Rabbi Asher Lopatin. Rabbi Lopatin signed the groundbreaking Orthodox rabbinic statement on
Orthodox rabbinic statement on Christianity,
which stated, among other things, that, as did Maimonides and Yehuda Halevi, we acknowledge that the emergence of Christianity in human history is neither an accident nor an error.
not an accident or an error. The rabbi says, in God's divine plan, divine knowledge, created Christianity to spread the God of Israel around the world.
But the will divine outcome and gift to nations. In separating Judaism and Christianity, God willed a separation between partners with significant theological differences, not a separation between enemies. This
Like the cattle rancher from Texas that did the red heifers keeps saying, it's one tree. He goes, it's one tree. We're the branches and they're the root, but we're one tree together.
understanding of Christianity was similarly embraced by Rabbi Hanan Schlesinger, a signee of the above-mentioned statement. Rabbi Schlesinger was once the rabbi of Congregation Sha'arei Tefillah, an Orthodox synagogue in...
Okay, I think that's not needed.
It's no exaggeration, and it's not even, you can't even call it an opinion. I think works in Maimonides. And Maimonides, so people understand who he was, it's no exaggeration, and it's not even, you can't even call it an
there's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle-diddle-diddle-digga-digga-diddle-diddle-dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate shitty coffee? I, for one, really hate shitty coffee, which is why I'm excited to introduce to you a company that's revolting against shitty coffee, and it's called the 1775 Coffee Company. Now, I haven't had it yet because I only drink decaf. Steph has had it. Steph, how do you like it?
I really like it. I've been, you know what? I have a French press, and so I've been using my French press and totally enjoying it. It's delicious. It's smooth. It's smooth.
So 1775, the world awakened. In 1775, the world awakened to a new era. And now it's 1775 Coffee Company is bringing you a coffee that embodies that revolutionary spirit. Crafted with passion and precision, our beans are ethically and exclusively sourced from the finest coffee beans farms of Bolivia. Didn't know that. 1775 Coffee Company's farm-to-cup journey ensures the highest quality of authenticity and sustainability from start to finish. With each sip, your palate will recognize and appreciate the dedication and passion that goes into crafting this single-sourced brew. 1775 Coffee Company takes pride in offering customers a truly exceptional coffee experience with their premium coffee collection. But their dedication to this revolution extends beyond the realm of taste. Safeguarding freedom of speech is critical right now, which is why 1775 Coffee Company has joined forces with Rumble in defense of one of our most fundamental rights, freedom of speech. Coffee that's sure to awaken all your senses, including the sense of freedom. So choose 1775 Coffee by going to 1775coffee.com/litter. That's LITTER, and use the code LITTER for 10% off the checkout on your first order. 1775 Coffee, brewed to perfection, crafted with revolution.